Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Friday, the 10th of January, 2025. Well done for making it this far. How are you all doing this morning? Some things around. Big shout out to Scott and Sarah and Andrew and Plumdorf and Victoria Townsend and Megan Elite. Hi, Megan. All in the chat this morning. If you would like to join them, everyone's welcome to join the chat. Just don't be a troll or we'll get rid of you. Just hit the subscribe button, wait 30 seconds. You can join the chat as well. Live and interactive. But first, we're going to talk about the fact that MAGA people aren't going to change their minds. And I'm going to talk about this because it's something that comes up again and again in left-wing discourse where we go, oh, but, you know, when things get really bad, then they'll see the light. Then they'll realise that they've been conned. Oh, sorry, people don't realise they've been conned. They double down. They give more money to the con man. There was a famous cult in the 1800s called the Millerite cult that followed some guy called Mr. Miller in upstate New York. And he predicted the end of the world. And they all went up to like a mountain. They sold all their possessions. They sold everything they had. And they went up to top of this mountain and they were waiting for the aliens to come or the end of the rapture or whatever they thought it was going to happen. And it didn't happen. The world didn't end. However, you would think that would make them go, oh shit, the world didn't end. That was a load of bollocks, wasn't it? It didn't. It had the absolute opposite effect. The backfire effect, the boomerang effect, whatever you want to call it. Like, they just got more and more adamant that they were right. And bringing it up to today, we're seeing the same thing with Trump's supporters. Even though Trump murdered 500,000 Americans with COVID by just being a shit leader in the time of a national crisis, they don't care. They don't care that Trump directly murdered people in their own family. It just makes them love him even more. And I know that seems illogical, and I know that makes you think, oh, what are these people thinking? But this is it. They're not necessarily thinking. They're not making the logical leaps because their belief system, their worldview is based on emotion. It's not based on logic. And I know a lot of people who watch this are probably not neurodiverse, and that makes no sense to us because we're like, but it makes no sense. Why would you do that thing that makes no sense? But what we're missing is the fact that they are driven primarily by their emotions. Trump makes them feel good. I'll talk about Brexit. Brexit makes Brexiters feel good. It makes old, crusty white men feel good. For the first time in their entire lives, they feel good about something. They never felt good about their job, never felt good about who they married or who how their kids turned out. They don't feel good about any of that shit. They don't give a crap. They care about being an independent sovereign nation and going back to the days of shillings and pence and empire. You know, that's what makes them excited. Oh, Darren Christian, thank you very much for gifting those Politics Social memberships. I see that I haven't fixed the size of the font when it comes up with people being gifted the memberships. So thank you very much for that, my friend. I'm going to give you a super chat animation. There you go. And down it goes. Yeah, so thanks very much for that, Darren. That's very kind of you. That's Politics Social memberships for 5 people. Thanks for the support, Darren. Pygmalion. It's easy to fool people and to convince them they have been fooled. Yes, Mark Twain and Pygmalion who actually put that on. So just to say as well, if at the end of the show, obviously everyone's name comes up who's a member of the channel or a patron. So if I'm going to be redoing that this morning because we've got a load more people who are now members of the channel, thanks to very generous people like Darren and Sfax and others gifting memberships. So I'll update that so your name should come up at the end of the show. Anyway, listen, getting off the point there, aren't we? Making this a nightmare to clip up later. Going back to Brexit, we're now in a situation in which we are paying £8 for a pint of lager. Like none of these crusty old white men could have avoided noticing how much the price of beer has gone up in the last few years. And what the left's failure to do, and we do this all the fucking time, is just drawing a straight line for them. A straight line. Brexit. That's because of Brexit. We go, well, you know, there's other factors in play. There's the global, financial situation. There's economics in other countries. There was the war in Ukraine. There was the COVID pandemic, obviously. And, you know, there's a lot of, and there's supply and demand. No, stop it. Just say it's because of Brexit, right? We don't have time. We don't have time. We're running out of time for nuance here. And I know it's more complicated than that. But it doesn't matter because we're in an information war. We're in a propaganda war. And we are losing. We are fucking losing like you will not believe. Like, not just in America where we've got Trump going to be taken over as the leader in Jesus Christ, 10 days. We've also got the rise of the far right around the world, literally around the world. You've got people in Argentina who have voted for this guy, Javier Milei, who has made poverty rates go through the roof. Children are dying in hospitals because they can't get medication. People are starving to death on the streets because they can't get food. They got nowhere to live. And he's presiding over record high approval figures. You're not going to get through to these people by saying, look, they've killed people. They've done this awful thing. This is a bad thing. This is a bad thing. Here's how we do it, all right? So stop doing that. Stop it. It just doesn't work. We tried it with Brexit. We tried explaining to every fucker who would listen that Brexit was going to be a terrible idea. Did it work? Did it fuck? It didn't work. What we need to do is divide and destroy. Forget divide and rule. Forget about divide and conquer. Divide and destroy. You see, the thing is, the left is beset by internal arguments amongst ourselves about capitalism, socialism, rights for minorities, what to do about immigration, what to do about, and there's people with a plurality of views on those things. And some people feel very, very, very passionately about them, right? Which means that the left is nearly always fragmented. Look at how much shit Labour is getting at the moment from the left because they're not moving fast enough. They're not doing the things we want to do. They're not, they're done daft things that annoy large segments of the left, and we say, oh, but we didn't want you to do that. Whereas the right seems to just go, oh, I don't care what they do. Donald Trump can come along and take a shit in my porch, but that's fine with me. As long as there was, it made me feel good, which it did. I mean, Donald Trump came to visit and did a shit on my porch. But like, what we need to be doing is identifying those same kind of topics on the right that divide the right. And I'll tell you a good one: rich people. Because if you're rich and right-wing, then you fucking love them. If you're poor and left-wing, you might not. And this is an important factor. We call it. This is something that could create a schism in the right. Because no matter how, wonderful these dickheads think that Jacob Rees-Mogg is, the reality is Jacob Rees-Mogg leads a very, lauded life. So there's that. There's also animal welfare. There's loads of people, working class people, who vote Republican, vote for the fucking Tories for some daft reason, who love animals. They absolutely adore animals. They'll write letters to their MP. And I was talking to Stephen Twigg about this many years ago when we were still friends. And he was saying he gets these letters and they go, I don't like immigrants. I don't like foreigners. People in the town, they're speaking all these different languages. I don't like it. Blah, blah, blah. Racism, xenophobia. But could we do something about the kittens? Because there's lots of abandoned kittens. I love kittens. Kittens are really cute. Love you. Bye. And they get loaded. They'll consider the puppies. So we need to draw parallels between the rich doing horrible things to animals and, well, not judge people's attention. Propaganda. That's what I'm talking about, mate. Demarcation. No, propaganda. When Elon Musk has been testing his chips, that go into humans' heads, his company has murdered brutally 1,500 animals doing that. You still like Musk? You still think he's a nice guy? Do you still think he's a nice guy? Or someone who's obsessed with grooming gangs because they've been told to be obsessed with grooming gangs this week. What's the thing of the week? Well, Elon Musk's dad became the stepfather to a child when she was 4, and then he married her when she was 19, and now they have 2 children together. If that isn't grooming, I don't know what is, mate. So Musk is, to paraphrase, the son of a groomer man. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. But, we need to point this out. We need to point out, loads of people don't know that the pilot in the plane crash that dickhead Farage nearly died in, they don't know that pilot killed himself. We don't mention it. It's like, oh, no, we can't talk about that. No, it's a bit infradig, It's a bit inappropriate, Graham. We should yes, we fucking should. Because Nigel Farage is a monster. And people need to know he's a monster. But they don't. They go, oh, he's great, he's great. He's taken the rights of millions of British people away from them, including me, including you, to go and live and work anywhere in Europe. He's taken that from us. He's still got it. He's got the money. He can open a Coots bank account. And if he can't open a Coots bank account, he'll make a big fuss about it and be on the front cover of all the newspapers. Jesus. So, here's my point. We're not going to get through to people by expecting that their life will go really, really shit under Trump, and they'll go, oh, fuck, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have voted for him in the first place. Nobody ever does that. No one likes admitting their mistakes, especially if they're a bit thick and lazy, which people who vote Trump are. And so I think of it like, I was talking about people not admitting that Brexit was a bad idea even now. And I did a little short film about this called The Book of Oddjob a few years ago, where it was two night watchmen who watch the CCTV monitors in the city centre. And one of them has a bet with another that no matter how bad this guy's life gets, Oddjob, they call him that because he wears a bowler hat. And he's just like, I'm adamant that he will not change his mind. He will still think Brexit is fucking amazing. And it's called The Book of Oddjob because it's based on the Book of Job in the Bible, and there's two characters, and one's supposed to be the devil, and the other one's supposed to be God, having a wager on someone's life that they're in the process of destroying, because that's what happens in the Book of Job if you bother reading the bloody Bible. I know it's pronounced Job, but the point is, people don't change their minds, and expecting them to is madness. And one thing that really fucked me off during the whole Brexit shebangle was that you will get Lexiteers, very big, rabid fans of the previous leader of Labour, whose name we shall not mention on this channel. Well, we'll try not to mention it. Saying, no, what I want is for everything to get really, really bad. And when it gets really bad, then people will wake up to the evils of capitalism, you see. So that's why I voted for Brexit. I'll be fine. I'm a left-wing socialist, communist, fascist, anarchist, whatever you want to call me. I believe in the state, running these nationalized services. That's what I want. And you're like, okay, so you want literal children to literally die in order to achieve your brave new world of a socialist state. Nice. Yeah. What do they call it? Catastrophization or something? It's this idea that when things get so bad, finally the proletariat will wake up and arise and overthrow the bourgeoisie. And I tell you what, everyone I met who had that attitude was wealthy. They had the money. They knew that it wouldn't be their kids starving to death or freezing to death in this apocalyptic world in which the Tories are in charge for the next 50 years. And we had the same argument when Labour were running for last election. I made the point time and time again that they were the only solution to the problem that is the Tories. They're not a perfect solution. I never said they were. But they were the only one. They were the only show in town. I'm not saying the greatest show on earth, but they were the only show in town. It was the only opportunity. And people are like, no, but they're not perfect. I'm not voting for Labour because they've not done X, Y, Z. They're not promised this and that and the other thing that I want, whether it's going back into the EU or more rights for trans people, which, I want myself. I want those things. Of course I do. But when you got your back against the wall, I'm like, I'd rather Labour are in charge, and then I can hassle their MPs and hassle the party and say, we want this, because they're more likely to listen on progressive issues than the Tories ever will be. Plus, I don't want people to die. That's just, I've got a sort of, thing about, I don't want people to die to achieve my aims, of a greater place for people to live in. And it is absolute abject nonsense when people start talking about this idea that, people will wake up. They'll wake up. There'll be a great awakening. Trump will do something. He'll betray them. He'll betray those people who voted for him. And do you know what? I used to think this too. I thought I'd done a video back in... I did a video. Sorry to be grammatically incorrect there. I did a video back in November 2016. I filmed it on my island. I was on the island at the time, where I absolutely lose my shit about the fact that people voted for Trump. I'm like, what the hell? What are you even thinking voting for this idiot who's going to just screw you over? Which he did. I mean, he screwed over the working class in America. Like, you will not believe he screwed over the middle class. He was there for the rich. That's it. He was there for the bourgeoisie. You know, he was there for the not just the rich, but the filthy rich. I mean, the billionaires who don't want to pay tax. They're going to redo the tax system in America, so that all these billionaires who owe loads of money to the IRS, and the IRS have been pursuing them for years, the IRS are going to have to stop the cases. They're going to have to drop the cases against these billionaires who don't want to pay tax. E-Final, £5. Thank you very much, E-Finel. E-Finel? Elfinel? Alphabet? Thank you very much. Morning, Graham. Roe versus Wade plan. Read Freakonomics. Makes sense. MAGA are creating MAGA youth. Dems are screwed, and it's mostly their fault. I agree. Because they're too nice. They're still playing by the rules of cricket in a game where people are lobbing hand grenades at each other, and you're just like, no, it can't work. There's going to be no rematch here. I don't think there's going to be more elections. I've had this debate with people on this channel. You know, I don't think there's going to be more elections in America. Trump's talking about invading other countries. Seriously. Like, he wants to invade Greenland. He wants to invade Panama. He wants to invade fucking Canada. You know, I mean, why would he want all those liberals? I mean, there's a lot more liberals in Canada than there is in America. Like, why would he? But yeah, he's entering his imperialist expansionist phase of his American nightmare that he is. And yeah, no matter, you're going to have parents sending their kids off to Panama to die, like they sent their kids off to Vietnam to die, and they'll come back in a box dead, covered in the American flag, and they'll put their hand on the box, and they'll be like, oh, thank God, thank the God that I believe in, that my son or daughter gave their lives for Donald Trump, for the great Donald. Because you got to understand, it's all emotion. There's no logic there. There's no logic at all. They'll see it as a great thing, in the same way that a suicide bomber's parents might think, oh my God, they died a martyr. They died a martyr. They did a good thing there. They did a good thing. I'm not saying all suicide bombers' parents think that, but, you know, suicide bombers think they're doing a good thing. They think they're doing what's necessary and what's right. And Trump voters are not that different. And deprogramming these people is, I mean, it's very, very difficult. And in a lot of ways, it's kind of fruitless, you know? I mean, you might get through to one or two, but there's 77 million Trump fans in America who voted for him. 77 million. And you can grab the copium if you like, grab the copium pipe and say, oh, but, you know, they're not all madly in love with him. They're in love with him enough to overlook the fact that this guy is a convicted rapist. That this guy, you know, is a criminal. That this guy ran the country into the ground in 2020. Something that the Democrats seem loath to point out. So find out the things that the right disagree on. And the wonderful thing about the right, there's only one wonderful thing about the right, is that there's loads of things that they disagree on. Like, there's loads of things that they vehemently disagree amongst themselves on. So what we're going to have to do, stop going on about the stuff that we care about, right? Stop going on about the environment. Stop going on about going back into the EU. Stop going on about LGBTQIA plus rights. I know that is not how we operate and not what we want to do. I know, but this is an emergency situation. We need to start going on and on in a culture war that we manufacture on those pressure points. We need to press down on those pressure points, those fissures between different parts of MAGA, different parts of the Tory base, different parts of the Reform base, the things that they disagree on. Identify them and go on about them mercilessly. That's what we need to do. Just go, okay, because you're not going to win an argument with a MAGA supporter about climate change. They think it's not real, or maybe they do think it's real. They don't know. To them, to a lot of people, climate change like Burkina Faso. It's like a country that maybe you've heard of. We couldn't probably tell you where it is on a map, but, you know, it might exist. It might not exist. I don't know. Sounds like a fictional place. Is it real? I don't know. It's a bit like that. You know, they don't care. They don't care. No matter how many fires we have in California, no matter how many fires we have in Australia, no matter how many floods we have around the world, no matter how many hurricanes slam into the east coast of America, killing people left, right, and center, no matter how many people die horribly, screaming in pain, it's not going to change their minds. Their minds are made up, and they've been made up by the Saudis. Let's make no bones about it. But there you go. There's a really good way into getting people who are racist, Islamophobic, to not like the Saudis. Okay, good. Let's work on that. Let's work on getting people who are right wing to not like Saudi Arabia. Okay, they already hate Pakistan. It's interesting that whenever we hear anything bad about Muslims, it's always Pakistani Muslims. It's hardly ever Iranian Muslims or Iraqi Muslims or Moroccan Muslims or Tunisian Muslims. It's always Pakistan, isn't it? Or, we don't hear much about people going, oh, there's bloody Emiratis coming over here. Just people don't talk about it. But Saudi Arabia, I think, is tying with Russia at the moment as the most evil country in the world. And I've had discussions with Americans where they've been defending Putin. They've been defending Putin's actions in Ukraine, the murder of women and children, the rape of women and children in Ukraine. You saw what happened in Bucha in Ukraine. It was horrific. They tortured and murdered civilians. And you've got Americans defending it because they like Putin. They think he's a strong leader. They want a strong daddy figure to come and lead them. That's their king, whatever. But with Saudi Arabia, they don't really have an opinion on it. They don't know much about it. But it's a Wahhabist Muslim country that has led the way on climate change, denialism since the 1990s and obstruction since the 1990s, when it decided, after having a meeting, it said, listen, we're going to have this COP meeting, and instead of it being a majority decision amongst the countries of the world, we're going to make it so it has to be a consensus. So 100% of all the countries have to agree, because they knew that 30 years on, and here we are, 30 years on from the middle of the 90s, nothing would get done. Nothing would get done, and nothing has been done. And now, last year, we were up to 1.5 degrees of global heating, which means that there's billions of kilojoules of energy, extra energy in the system, which has to go somewhere. I hope Liz Cheney is okay. I fear she won't be, says Plum Duff. No, I think Trump's going to kill her. I told you, I saw some footage of a guy who Trump's going to go after and put in jail for his role on this January the 6th committee. Not for his role in January the 6th riot, where 9 people ended up dying and they cost $3 million of damage and they injured 150 police officers. Nah. Not though. They're the people who investigated it and said that was Trump. He says he's going to put them in jail, and he's like, well, if he puts me in jail, then I'll be in jail and I'll say, screw you, man, from jail, and I'll tell everyone what a prick Donald Trump is from jail. And I'm like, fucking hell, man. Navalny. Who's Trump's fucking North Star? Who's his Svengali? It's fucking Putin, innit? It is. What does Putin do? He kills his opponents. Gets away with it. He's the president. He's above the law. America has decided in their constitution that the American president is above the law. In 10 days, you are going to make a guy president of the United States who's a fucking psycho killer. It is like going up to Dennis Nielsen and saying, arresting him for murdering prostitutes, and then, deciding that, well, actually, not only do we want him to be free to, possibly murder more prostitutes, but I tell you what, mate, here you go. Here's a hammer, and good news, you're immune from prosecution from anything that you do in the future. What? So I can just kill as many people as I like? Yeah. And then you got people grasping on the copium pipe, going, but he might not be as bad as we think he's going to be. He's going to be worse. You've given a serial killer a hammer and told him to go nuts, and you think he's not going to go that nuts? Please, come on. I have feelings about ditching trans rights for the greater good, like we saw Labour doing the run-up in the election. Gallifrey man, yeah, I don't mean like we should ditch them amongst ourselves. Sorry, I probably put that across badly. When we're arguing with the right, okay, we still need to stand up for trans rights. Absolutely, 100%. Don't get me wrong here. Sorry if that came across the wrong way. What I mean is, when we're talking to the dickheads on the right, well, these absolute knobheads who voted for Brexit, voted for Trump, voted for Erdogan, voted for Millie and the AfD in Germany or whatever. When we're talking to these people, if we start going on about the stuff that we care about, they're just going to dig down further into their position. There's no point in trying to convince them of anything. We can't tell them they're wrong because it just won't work. What we need to do is make the divisions that already exist in the right, make them worse. Make them fight amongst themselves. And it's very easy to do. Look how much the Musk and the MAGA faithful were fighting amongst themselves about H1B flu, avian bird flu visas, right? Those particular visas for talented people coming in from other countries to do programming and things like that people like Musk need them to do. Musk, the animal killer, Musk, the chimpanzee killer, Musk. You know, that guy who put microchips in chimpanzees' brains and killed them, murdered chimpanzees. They died in pain, yeah, screaming chimpanzees. That guy, yeah. Always point that out. You might want to point that out more. You might want to point out that his dad's a groomer. His dad is literally the dictionary definition of a groomer. Took a 4-year-old girl and groomed her to be his wife. You might want to mention that. You might want to mention that every time Musk's name comes up when someone tries to tell you what great things he's done. Like yeah. Dennis Nielsen didn't kill prostitutes. Sorry, technical. I don't know about me. Was it Leslie Nielsen? I don't know. It was one of those people. I was just making a bit of a thing. Anyway, I'm not backing down on this. Adapting messaging is better, says one angry pagan. What? Cheney was already in trouble for the L in LGBTQIA. Adding J6 to that means most MAGA will applaud it. Yeah, I know. There's Buggy. I think you're confusing him with Peter Sutcliffe. Okay, yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I hate to say that I don't know much about serial killers, and I tend to get them a bit confused. They just kill people. I mean, okay, just Peter Sutcliffe, Yorkshire Ripper. Was that him? Yeah, just give him a hammer and go off you, mate. Off you go, mate. Go nuts. That's Trump. That's what we're done with Trump. Sarah's saying I've got a bail. Oh no, miss. Russell got it. He passed the ADHD test. Thanks, Russell. Yes, I did. Your film on the USA was really good. Thanks, Graham. Plumbed off. Thank you for watching it. I mean, that was a nightmare to film. It was an absolute nightmare. We were at the Niagara Falls, the middle of winter. Why couldn't I wear my gloves? Oh, I forgot to take my gloves with me. I left my gloves in the hotel room. We went across to America and I filmed it. And I was planning to, do it properly and have, do it with my video camera. And I ended up having to do it on my phone because it was just the most practical way of doing it. And I downloaded like an auto cue app thing. And I was reading off the auto cue. I'm not, I'm good, but I'm not that good. I can't remember a whole 5-minute monologue. When I'm out and about, and I'm out on the platform by the Niagara Falls. You can't see the Niagara Falls behind me because it's just a White House. It's so cold. And because I didn't have gloves on, my hand was like numb. I couldn't feel it. And when I was pressing the screen, because my hands were so cold, it wasn't making a connection. I had to press and hold for a while before it actually realised that there was a little bit of a resistance there, and I knew where I was pressing on the screen. And the fucking auto cue fucked up. Like I was hoping to do it all in one take. Take me 3 minutes or whatever, and then I'll be done. And the auto cue just stopped. It just stopped, and then I tried to do it again. And then it stopped again, and I was like, it stopped again at the same place. So I had to go into the auto cue and then edit it and take out the bit that I'd already done and go back. And then I got back. I got back after doing it. Like, it was literally, the light was going. Catherine she was supposed to go and get a coffee, but the coffee place was closed in the Niagara Falls on the American side. So she was just sitting there waiting for me to do this stupid thing. She's like, Graham, I don't even want to do this. Why are you doing this? And I'm like, I'll just be a minute. I'm there. And then people keep coming up onto the viewing platform, and I have to stop because I'm slagging off America. And I think, if this family come over and they hear what I'm saying, they might throw me over the bloody viewing platform into the water or something. So I have to stop to let these people. And then finally I get this sort of gap, to film it. And I managed to get it all out, get it all done. And I got back to the bloody hotel room, and I put my headphones in my ears, I plugged it in, and instead of being able to hear what I'm saying, it's just like, that's it. It's just the wind. And that's all you can hear is the fucking wind. And I'm like, anyway, but thanks to the joys of Adobe what's it called? Adobe voice cleanup thing. You can get rid of the wind. I do sound a little bit electronic in a few bits of it, which annoy me, but it's better than it was. It was fucking unlistenable. It was really funny. Like I'd written this thing. I thought I'd go to America. I'll do this thing on American soil, at Niagara Falls. I'd use my visa that cost me like hundreds of pounds to get this bloody visa. I'm gonna use it. Because once Trump got it, I was like, I'm not going to go back to America while Trump's in. So I'm like, I'm going to use this visa. It cost me all this money. I had to pay $1 to put into the turnstile to go across the bridge. And then, I was like, oh, but so thanks for watching it and thinking it was okay. It was an absolute nightmare to me, and it's why I think I just go. I'm not going to make the preview cuts. I like the live stuff because if something goes wrong in the live thing, it's fun. It's part of it. Let's go back and fix it afterwards. Anyway, one angry pagan, austerity, Brexit, climate change. They're simple. One angry pagan. Look, we can go on about it to ourselves. I'm saying that if you go up to dickhead in the pub who voted for Brexit and you start wanging on about climate change, mate, you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to get anywhere. But if you start going on about the fact that, so you're a fan of dogs, for instance. Oh, well, that Nigel Farage wants to ban dangerous dogs breeds. Yeah. Nigel Farage goes on the hunt and dogs die during, as well as foxes. This is how many dogs die. And he smokes. You know how many dogs have died over the years having cigarettes tested on them to make them more addictive, put more chemicals in. He's a big fan of smoking, so there's that as well. So you like animals, so just go on the thing that they like and make sure that they know that the celebrity or politician or whoever that they think is wonderful, it doesn't share those same sentiments that they do on that particular topic. That's the trick. Okay, but I'm not saying that we should give up fighting for LGBT plus rights, because absolutely we need to do that amongst ourselves, but we're not going to get through to the right. We're just not. They're not going to wake up. They're not going to see the light. They're not going to, have this road to Damascus moments where they go, oh my God, the scales have fallen from my eyes. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I hate having colds. It's so painful when your circulation comes back. Hate having colds. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, it was like I couldn't feel my hand. When you go in the dentist and you get the injection and it feels like your face is bigger than it actually is. That was like my hand. My hand felt like it was twice as big. It was like the Dave Grohl hand in the video for Everlong. It's like giant hand. So that was David Tennant. Well, we've got subscribe to join the chat. Yes, indeed. I've read all these. Graham, I have to bail. I've read that one. Israel says number 3. Well, yeah, Israel. Actually, yeah. Israel is something that can divide the right as well as the left. I mean, it definitely divides the left, but it can divide the right as well. So that's something to use. That's something to, make a list. Make a list of things that the right argue amongst themselves about. And it can be daft shit as well, Be like movies and stuff and music and blah, 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 blah. I prefer Rob Lowe, destroyed Southampton Football Club, coach convicted for abusing kids in 2019. It's this year is less than 2 weeks old and it's exhausting already. That's the way I feel, Phil. Seriously, it's a lot, isn't it? It's a lot already. We're only 2 weeks into Trump isn't even president yet, and every day he's stressing everyone out. Stress levels around the world are going to go through the roof over the next few years. And this is why I feel it's important that we talk about this stuff and don't bottle it up. I sometimes talk about this channel about the fact that I get to talk about the stuff that I want to wang on about, because if I don't, I'll wang on about it to Catherine and she'll fucking leave me. You know what I mean? She's like, I can't be dealing with all this doom and gloom, Graham. You talk about politics all the time. So get it out of my system. And then when we're having a conversation, we can talk about nice things like, nice music and puppies and things. Anyway, hey, having cold hands. Yeah, okay. Well, I think I've done all it. I'll just quickly do I'll just very, very quickly do the papers bit. Okay. The papers. Left the lens cap on. Lol. What? Did I leave the lens cap on? I'm a bit worried that not many messages are coming through. Is my internet going shit? I don't know. Oh yeah, you talk about filming it. Left the lens cap on. No. It was on my phone, but having to hold your phone with no glove on. in that cold. I mean, it was -5, I think. It was ridiculous. But there you go. I'm gonna just go over to the papers. Oh, there they are. Hey, I was looking for the window with the papers in it. Treasury braced a mini budget in March as Reeves faces dilemma on tax and public services. This is to do with the fact that interest rates on bonds have gone through the roof in the last few days, actually. And as a result, it means that borrowing is a lot more expensive for the government, so they can't borrow as much because they need to pay some of it back, I guess. We've got three possible things that they can do. They can increase taxes, they can cut services, or they can rejoin the EU. I think one of them is off the agenda for some reason, for some emotional reason. Jesus. Anyway, Burnham support for grooming gang inquiry. Pardon me. Piles pressure on PM, which probably isn't helpful, but there you go. Rattled Reeves searches for new ideas on growth. Indeed. We've got the future queen there. She could be queen sooner than you think, you know. That's all I'm saying. Catherine there. Jihadi brides could run free within days. Is that? Are you talking about? Oh no, she's not the jihadi brides. Sorry, it's Shamima Begum. The guards holding the jihadi bride and thousands of ISIS terrorists in a Syrian refugee camp come under attack. Well, you know, she should have been brought back to the UK and stood trial, for her crimes. And I think that the fact that she very clearly was groomed by a gang of Muslim men, like, she's the victim in this, I think, isn't she? Made to do horrible things by a group of older men. Isn't this the kind of thing that the right should be really excited about, bringing her back here and putting her on trial and then finding out, who's really to blame and all that kind of? I don't know. Musk hate probe. I hate Musk. There you go. Exclusive security threats. Elon Musk file rants are being probed by a counter-extremist unit to see if they create a risk in Britain, which they no doubt do. Same picture of Kate on the front cover of the Daily Mail there. Richard Hammond ended up sleeping in his barn. Oh, how sad. It would have been a very posh millionaire's barn. It wouldn't have been. I don't think he's going to be lying there with the shit and the hay on the ground. Sorry, the straw on the ground. Market intel. UK faces crisis like the 1970s. Reeves warned. Sorry, was this the papers saying at last a true Tory budget, a true Conservative budget? Was that it? Guardian with probably the most important news of the day. World temperatures overshoot 1.5 degrees Paris deal limit for the first time last year. Global average temperatures exceeded 1.5 degrees C. On a planet the size of the Earth, that is a tremendous amount of energy that we have added to the system, which will mean more wildfires, more storms, more flooding, more carnage, more death, more suffering, more pain, more heartbreak, more insurance companies telling you to fuck off, which is what happens. Reeves considers deeper cuts in spending, not good. There's Carter getting buried, Carter the unstoppable sex machine, as I like to call him. He finally carked it at the age of 100, which the good news about is he's actually going to be all the flags are going to be at half mast for the inauguration, which makes sense. Also, someone else died, by the way, Anissa Bryant, who was the leader of the 1970s anti-LGBT crusader, the woman who it was like protect the kids. It's always about the kids. Would somebody consider the children? The J.K. Rowling of her day. She's finally fucking carked it at the age of like 80 something. Hurrah! So there you go. She's going to be clutching her pearls in hell. And then Reeves missing in action on debt crisis is the scathing headline from the Daily Telegraph. I don't think that's quite true, but whatever. Nothing that the Daily Telegraph writes these days is completely true. So, why spoil a habit of a lifetime? Musk seeks plan to oust Starmer as Prime Minister before next election. Yeah, good luck, mate. The thing about Musk is he doesn't realise how unpopular he is in this country. He is quite unpopular in this country. And then, just a normal day in British politics, the Daily Star having a serious cover for once. Letters who crashed the economy tells bloke who is crashing the economy, don't say I crashed the economy. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-bum. Okay, and then Lost Angeles. You see what they've done there? They've taken the word loss and they've put a T on the end to make it Lost Angeles because of the fires. 10 people have died so far. Thousands and thousands of acres of land have been destroyed by fire in the middle of January. January, my friends, the middle of winter. Not summer. Not after a long, hot, arid summer. No, winter. And this is caused by climate change. And once again, the fucking idiots who are on our side, supposedly, the scientists on climate change, always have to be this way about it. They have to go, oh no, I didn't I don't want to say that it's completely because of climate change. It's not 100% because of climate change, because no one can say that. No, fucking say it. Say it's because of climate change, all right? Because the dickheads at the back don't care about the nuance of it. They will say, oh, well, you can't say it's about climate change entirely. It could be about other factors. No, just say it's about climate change. Oh, but that's not technically accurate, Graham. Yes, I fucking know, all right? We are in an emergency. Stop being an anal twat about, having to get everything completely correct, because we're all going to fucking die if you continue doing this idiotic thing of turning up on the TV or being interviewed and going, when there's a natural disaster happening and thousands of people are fucking dying and going, well, we can't say it's entirely because of climate change. Fuck that. Say it's entirely because of climate change. Just say it. And then people will criticize you, say, well, you can't say it. Well, I am saying it. I am fucking saying it. But unfortunately, the people who go into science, generally speaking, tend to be neurodiverse and tend to be not very good at public speaking, let's just say. The art subjects, the drama subjects, the politics, people who do that, they learn to debate, they learn to talk, they learn to, and then you've got people who do science, who generally, and I know I'm massively generalizing here, but the vast majority of them, when they engage in a conversation about something, about their particular, specialist area, they will go into the minutiae detail, and it all has to be correct. It all has to be 100% accurate. And look, I get it. I understand why you want that. But the reality is we're all going to fucking die if you keep doing this. And I'll put a lot of blame on the scientists, the climate scientists, who waste their time collecting data, which they then fail to present to the people in a way that the people can understand the fucking data. Because they have to go, oh, but you can't really say it's 100% climate change. Stop it. Just stop it. Stop having this idea that everything has to be 100% accurate, 100% pure, 100%, beautiful, whatever, the calculations all have to make sense. Because when you're dealing with people, getting them on side, you're not dealing with data. You're not dealing with facts, okay? You're dealing with emotion, right? Not logic, emotion. So put your logic to one side and just look at this situation that's happening right now in LA and go, this is 100% because of climate change. It would not have happened had it not been for climate change. 100%. No question about it. Fold your arms and that's it. And then when someone else comes up, you say, how much are you being paid by ExxonMobil, mate? How much are you being paid by the Saudis to say this? Where's your vested interest? Do you want to declare your vested interest? Because we've been doing a bit of research on you before we came on the show, and it turns out that your dad is on the board of what's this? Royal Dutch Shell. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? So are you saying that we should just keep burning oil because you like people dying? Is that what you want? I don't think there's going to be too many scientists who are going to go on TV and be be that kind of firebrand. But fuck, we need it. We need it. Sorry for swearing so much. I'm in a very sweary mood at this time of year when Trump's about to get elected. But yes, simplifying science is part of the problem. No, one angry pagan, 100%, you're wrong. We need to simplify it so that the dickheads will understand it. I know that you get it, but you need to have a bit more empathy and understand that there are people out there who are thick as pig shit, who are lazy, who can't be arsed, who are not interested in politics, not interested in climate change, and we need them to panic. We need them to go, shit, we need to do something about this. And sitting down, what, you're going to sit down with every single person who doesn't believe climate change is a big problem? Yeah, you'll be there for years. There's not enough time in the time space, in the time we've got until the heat death of the universe. There's not enough time. I mean, I tried to convince one person they were wrong about Brexit. One person, and I failed. One person who I know. Good luck trying to convince 17 million who fucking voted for it. BP relationship with Putin, it's a pressure point. Yeah, absolutely. But yes, careful. Elton Musk is neurodiverse. I think he hides behind this idea that he's neurodiverse in order to get away with shit. I generally do. I think he's just if he is neurodiverse, I think he's got narcissistic personality disorder. That's his neurodiversity. Climate change is accelerating far faster than thought. It's closer to geometric than linear, and kind of doomer at this point. Yeah, Kai, I agree. That's what I'm saying. Like we need to wake up and realize that this isn't a fucking an academic discussion anymore. This is war. This is war. We need to be addressing climate change on a war footing. And at wartime, you have propaganda. You don't have a poster with 1 million fucking words on it saying, well, Hitler's a bad man and here's why he's a bad man. I know some people think that he's a good man because they voted for him, but he didn't actually win an election, He was put into the position of chancellor by the then president, Heisenberg, and then Hindenburg. And then, he had all these referendums to make himself, the Führer and everything, but he never really won. And they were kind of, it wasn't fair on the people because they had a big circle for the yes box and a little circle for the no. And it's just, no. Hitler is a bad man. Let's kill him. That's it. That's all you need. Hitler, bad man, kill him. Just break it down so people can, because people are busy. They've got things to do. They don't have time to read shit. They don't have time to fucking sit there for hours reading academic papers. So when people are asked on the TV, when scientists are asked, are these fires caused by climate change? You say yes. If someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes. That's it. End of discussion. If it wasn't for climate change, these fires wouldn't happen. That is it. That's what you say. But unfortunately, we don't control the means of communication. The right do. And so they get on people that they know will be shit. They get on people who they know they can run rings around because they went to science school and the person they're fighting against went to fucking Oxford debating society. Oh, so you can't say that it's 100%, definitely caused by climate change. So, there's a bit of wiggle room there. And I think, the problem is with you scientists, you just want your grants, your access grants, your research grants. That's what it's all about, isn't it? It's just the gravy train and the... Man, oh man. Vesloy 812, in 5 or 10 years, it'll be too late. Humanity will be doomed. I feel sorry for future generations. Yeah. Vesloy, and it pains me to say this, but there's a part of me that's glad that I don't have kids. I'm not going to disagree with that assessment. And but all we can do is fight. We need to fight, and we need everyone's help on this. We need your help on this, right? Because it's like there is that sort of disastrous mindset, the doomist mindset of going, oh, well, we're fucked, so what's the point? But there's degrees of being fucked. And, there is the ultimate fuckness when humanity literally wipes itself out. We're not there yet. And there is a path to avoid that. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not going to say, when the ice caps melt, that we're not going to have some huge, huge issues around the world. Not least to do with migration. We're already setting ourselves up for World War III on that front. But we have to fight. We have to keep fighting. We can't give up and go, oh, well, we'll let the Saudis destroy the planet because, that'll make the second coming of Muhammad come or whatever they believe. I don't know. But yeah, the doom cultists in Christianity and in Islam are very much controlling the world at the moment. Number 3, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. Once again, we need to map the power networks in the world to build up a body of facts that others can refer to. I know the technology, but I can't do much myself at all. There's things that we can do. And supporting each other, I think is, thank you very much for the super chat there, Richard. I think that the fact that we do on our channels, and you watching this, obviously you watch other channels, from our gang of friends who are making these videos. We see each other socially, and we're not in this because we're being paid by some fucking, by some billionaire who just wants to spread good news. Wants to spread the word on how things could be better. Because they don't exist. All billionaires are fuckers, apart from Taylor Swift. Scientists do need to improve our messages. I would agree on that. Yeah. Labour and scientists, shit comms, mate. Shit fucking comms. And they know that when they book people to come on TV to talk about climate change, it's always 1-to-1. It's always like, it's never the actual ratio, which should be 99-to-1. There should be 99 scientists screaming at a climate change denier that they're full of shit. It's always 1-to-1. It's always like, well, it could be happening, it could not. And it's painful. It's absolutely painful, especially for me watching it, because for me, it's like watching a really bad movie and going, I could do a better job with the same story and the same actors and the same budget and the same special effects. I could do such a better job than this motherfucker. And I feel that way when I'm watching the TV and there's someone on TV talking about science, and I'm sure they know a lot more than I do. But that doesn't matter because they can't communicate it. They're there going, yeah, well, there's a lot of factors in play here. I'm like, fuck it, just say it's climate change. God damn it. But that's not precisely right, is it, Graham? Are you sure you've got the right serial killer there that you're making an analogy to? Yes. And Billy saying, what? Apart from the Taylor Swift? The Marcel Marceau of music? Are you saying she's a mime? I think not, sir. Tay-Tay is a goddess, as far as I'm concerned. And I'll have no one be mean about her on my channel. Away with you, sir. Away with you, Billy. I'm joking. To each to their own, I guess. A scientist versus Hartley Brewer, if it's the BBC. Yeah, Phil. Yeah. Hartley Brewer brags about going on holidays on a plane because it's polluting the world. Anyway, but she did stay out too late. Blue Badger, that's the point. I've gone on far too much. I'm 22 minutes over time. So I'll be back at 1 o'clock with Phil Morehouse for a very sensible discussion about the economy and what we're going to do about it. Because there are serious problems with the economy, and what can Labour do apart from rejoin the EU? Rejoin the EU. Why don't you rejoin the EU, guys? Yeah, but then we'd have to give up our amazing trade deal that we've got with Tuvalu. Oh, shit. Really? Okay. What a shame. Right. A scientist, says Shazak. Yes, Phil is a scientist and he's a good communicator as well. We're talking to Phil. And then tonight at 9:30, we're going to be doing the show. We're going to be doing the Friday Night Social into the night. So please join us for that. And we'll try not to have a power cut this time. Well, internet cut, which makes the show just end in the middle of a sentence. But yes, we'll be coming to you live and interactive through the internets. And hopefully I'll be up tomorrow morning, nice and early. I'm heading to London tomorrow, so I won't be able to do the morning brew. But what I am going to try and do is a little bit, if I can get enough signal on my phone, to say hello from the pub that we're meeting in London. Femi's going to be there. Supatansky might be there. And some other influencers, content creators, whatever you want to call them. Whatever you want to call us. Political artists, political artisans. So look out for that. It will just come up, live in the pub or something. However many. So I'll make some parallel with Three Blokes at the Pub. My old podcast from back in the day. Great days. Anyway, so thanks very much for watching. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for the discussion. And sorry for going off on one there, but I think it's a time for going off on one. I really do. There's ever a time for going off on one. Now is the time, my friends. Now is the time. The best time to be is now, and the best place to be is here. I used to believe that, Bill and Ted. I used to believe that. Okay, so until next time, give us a like on the way out, and I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.